discovered tactics is a very dangerous form of attack because it's discovered, because it's not revealed before it's actually played on the board, and we have to be very careful. Watching for opponents' pieces suddenly just to unleash their power. Let's just look at the mechanism first. So let's just put a few pieces on board. Let's put this bishop here, and let's make a couple of pawns. So now we have two black pieces, and we can show how it can work. So let's say we have king on e8, rook on e8, and if white pushes the pawn e5, that's a discovered attack on the rook. It's an attack, but of course rook can move. This is not the end of the game. This is not deadly. But just imagine that if we just put the king here, then it's the same move e5, but because it's check, and it's discovered attack on the rook, that leads to a material advantage for white. So black is losing the rook. We can just replace the pieces, put rook on f6, king on a8. e5 again, it's a discovered attack. It's a check now, attacking the rook. Of course, black can limit the damage by taking the bishop, but still white wins an exchange. So we understand the mechanism. Any line piece could participate in this attack. Bishop, rook, or queen, and probably most dangerous when the knight is in front of these pieces. It jumps, and it's very often it causes havoc in the enemy's camp, especially for the beginners. I can tell you that discovered checks, quite often missed even by the top players. And I can show the game I played in 1991 in Paris in a rapid tournament against Boris Gelfand. It was a roughly even game, but then Boris made a terrible blunder, missing the discovered check. So here was the position. I had two rooks. Boris had a queen. So he pushed my bishop, attacked my bishop. I brought my bishop back. It's like an ambush here. And instead of attacking my bishop, Boris decided to exchange the pawns, missing this deadly check, discovered check. It's not just a check, but it also opens the rook, and black lost its queen. So that's why always be aware about this discovered attack, discovered checks, because if you miss it, it could lead to dramatic, even deadly consequences. The danger of the discovered attack is that you don't see the piece that is behind, and is a part of this attack, because one piece moves forward or to the side and opens another piece. And as in, for instance, in this case with Boris, it just not only opens the bishop, but it also opens the rook. So if discovered attack is a discovered check at the same time, then you should realize that by opening up one piece, your opponent can open another piece, or you can open another piece and gain time to win the material or to cause some other damage to your opponent. So here is the situation. White sacrificed an exchange, but created a very, very powerful attack. So taking the knight doesn't help, because then we simply take with a queen, and then next move is a mate. And knight just is about to move. It could go to e5. If bishop goes on f7, it can go to e7, double check. So if black tries to protect by attacking the queen and trying to dismantle this mechanism, then white has another trick. So it's a double check. That's a discovered check. And that's a deadliest form of attack, because the king has to escape. There's no other way. You cannot eliminate one piece or another, because there are two pieces that attacking your king. So king goes on f7, and now it's another trick. So white goes on h5. It's a check. King takes knight, but then bishop attacks king, and then winning the queen and winning the game. So we saw, few few ideas behind discovered attack, because the moment knight is involved, it becomes really, really dangerous. Because knight jumps, sometimes it's a double check, but even without double check, it always unleashes the power of opponent's army. Hopefully it's your army and you can cause this damage. Look at this position. Clearly, white has decisive material advantage. Black sacrificed a lot of material, 2 pieces, just to get a chance to attack white's king. The king is cut on h file, but how to deliver the final blow? Because if we give a check, then rook goes on h5, and white's material advantage will be a decisive factor. It seems that black lost its attacking potential because 2 other pieces, 2 rooks, they're far away. But just look at this rook. It's sitting there, it's waiting. And just imagine that if we can open h file, then it could be a mate. You don't need a queen. You can just mate white king with rook, because bishop from c5 cuts the only escape route. From g1. And by contemplating that, you could see the right move for black. h7, h5. It's an amazing move. The queen is still hanging, but we all know the end of the game is checkmate. And if you checkmate opponent's king, it doesn't matter how many pieces left, your pieces left on the board. And there's no way white can defend, because if white takes the queen, then h takes g4, suddenly it's opened, and now the rook enters the game with decisive effect. If white gives a check, it just doesn't solve anything. Black king simply walks away, and it just doesn't change the configuration of the position. And if white takes this pawn, then black simply takes a queen on f5, and it's quite an easy win. So it's a bit tougher for defense for white, but it still doesn't save them. So it shows you the power of this discovered attack, and the surprising effect that it could have on the opponent's army. Discovered attack, as I mentioned already, could be missed even at a high level. But from my own experience, I can tell you that I managed to win a game, a very important game, a game at the World Championship match against no one else but Anatoly Karpov in 1985. And it was a discovered attack that helped me to win the game and to equalize the score in the match. So it was game 11, 1985. I had slight advantage in the opening, but Karpov defended well, and it seemed for everybody that the game was getting to sort of another drawish conclusion. And with my last move, I just moved queen from a4 to g4, attacking black's rook, and setting up a trap. And if the rook could move on c7, for instance, or on d8, and white probably has slight pressure, but it's not the end of the world. But Karpov made the most natural move, made it very quickly, and it was a big blunder. So that's why the deceptive effect of discovered check can be missed, even at the World Championship level. So Karpov played rook c8 to d8. What could be more natural? Doubling the rooks, attacking the bishop. The problem is, here is the mechanism of discovered attack accompanied by check. Queen takes d7, rook takes queen, now rook e8 check, king h7, and now bishop e4 check. Check, they only move g6, and then rook takes d7, and it's total disaster. Black lost 2 rooks for queen, and more material losses are inevitable. So Karpov resigned. That tells you that you have to be very, very careful watching for discovered attacks, especially if they're accompanied by check. There's another construction. It's a very famous construction, and it's a game from a Moscow International Tournament in 1925 between renowned Mexican player Torre and the second world champion Emmanuel Lasker. And it's quite amazing that Lasker, having very good position in this game, actually winning position at one point, he relied on the pin on the fifth rank, expecting this bishop to be lost, because if it moves, the queen, white queen, is under attack, and missing a beautiful combination. It's a windmill that made Torre very famous, because it's not just about the beauty of the combination. It's not just about discovered attack that led to this windmill harvest collected by white, but it's also the fact that Lasker, Emmanuel Lasker, the world champion, at that time ex-world champion, was a victim. And after bishop f6, the windmill begins its operation. So queen takes queen, rook takes g7 check, king goes on h8, no other moves. Now check, king goes on g8, check again. So king h8, rook takes bishop, again check. There's no other way, king g8, check, and now it's time to actually win the queen. Rook g5 check, white took the queen, and quickly won the game. Here is a position that I want you to look at and to make first make an assessment. It's an end game. It seems that if nothing happens, the game will be a draw. But black king is in danger, because if you look at the position, just something that I want you to understand is the black queen cannot give an immediate check to white's king. So that's quite important in endgame. So it means you have time. So since the strongest opponent's piece it's cut from the main battlefield, you have an opportunity to use one or two tempests to create something. But how to attack? Because you have very limited resources. So there's no way you can mate black's king. So again, resources are minimal. Though you can try to create some interesting threats. Spend a bit of time trying to figure it out. So make a pause, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we're back, and I wonder if you had a chance solving this problem. So the first move is we give a check. Now, if black king goes on h2, then after bishop f3, we have this precious time, because remember, black queen cannot check our king, and there's no defense from mate. So black king should go on g2. And here is the point. We sacrifice our bishop. Taking the bishop is forced, because if black king goes on f3, then queen is remate. If black king goes on h2, then queen goes on e5, and then we mate here again. So black has to take, and now this is the point. We make a quiet move, queen g1. Now mate is threatening, and black king has to escape. And here we reach a position where discovered attack becomes a decisive factor. So white queen checks from h2 and takes his position in ambush. Because you see, it's the same line. Our queen is on h2, black's queen is on a2. And we're checking the king, which should go either on g4 or g5, but it doesn't matter, because I'm sure you can see it now. Wherever black kings goes, it's being checked by the pawn, either by pawn on f3 after king g4, or if on g5 by f4. And by giving this check, it's a discovered attack, we simply win the queen by the next move. It's quite a pure, simple study that shows you how you can use the domination in the endgame. discovered attack is always a surprise, I like it because it empowers many pieces at the same time. That's what's real power behind this concept, because you have 2 or 3 pieces immediately being activated, and it creates multiple threats. In many cases, that could be the end of the game. So that's why you have to be very careful, watching for opponents, discover tricks, and also try to find out how you can use the power of the discovered attack to reach your objectives.